And I don't expect any confiscation. Less than 3% of Americans own gold. They wouldn't waste their time. They can go over and take over the GLD, which is the Exchange Traded Fund. They supposedly have 1,058 tons of gold, and there's some other entities that can be grabbed as well, and they can have all the gold that they want doing that.
Yeah, back in 1933, money was gold and silver. The government says, we're going to give you this paper. Give us that. Then they doubled the price of gold a year later once the people didn't have it. Of course, my great-grandpa didn't turn his in. We'll be right back. Bob Chapman's our guest. We've been right about everything on every issue because we know the globalist agenda. It's all written down. We're like reading a TV guide and telling you what's on television tonight, and you're saying, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. We have the government textbooks. We have the government documents. We have their own admissions. Private corporate banks are robbing everyone right now. They're destroying our future. And they're setting up a police state to make sure we can't resist them. It's illegitimate. It's criminal. We've got to come to realization. Stop debating left and right, Republican, Democrat. Stop debating balloon hoaxes and the latest O.J. Simpson and Michael Jackson crap. We've got to stop caring so much about Brett Favre and start caring about the real issues, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, take Jesse Ventura. He likes Brett Favre, too. We talked a little bit about football while I was out there shooting his TV show with him this week on Wednesday. But, you know, he still cares about the other issues of liberty and freedom. I'm not telling people to not spend some of their time in leisure and fun and watching the Yankees or the Dodgers. But you've still, I mean, Charlie Sheen, I'm good friends with Charlie Sheen. He still watches football and, baseball, but he also spends some time dealing with issues of liberty and freedom. Ron Paul likes baseball, but he still spends some time fighting tyranny. And we have total criminals taking over. I've made the decision to basically have almost no leisure, unless it's with my children, playing with them. I play football in the backyard with my kids, but that's about it, because they need that. We've got to get our priorities straight. Bob, this is a short segment, but long segment coming up. I want to explain to people this illusion, and I want you to get into it with them, but also what dollar collapse is going to look like, how this is going to affect the average person. And then also the record bonuses for Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, AIG, and others, the ones that changed the laws with the revolving door of politicians and regulators that are now further raping us with our tax money for bonuses, who are now going to set up the new bank of the world that the criminals, are going to control. But Bob Chapman of the internationalforecaster.com, people that want to check out more, gold isn't going up in price. The dollar is dropping in value, and people know it's going, so they're rushing into the safe haven of something that's a real commodity and has true value. How does that ratio work with the stock market? I know it's not as pure, dollar goes down, gold goes up, as it is with gold with the stock market, but if the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ are dollar denominated, is there not a ratio with the economy's plunging, the dollar's plunging, the industries are shutting down, but the stock market goes up? Is there not a ratio there with people also flooding into stocks instead of dollars?
Well, the move that you've seen in the Dow Jones from the low of 6,600 to 10,000 has been propelled by two basic reasons. Short covering in a big way, people who bet the market was going to go down and were wrong. And secondly, the enormous amount of money that was put into the hands of banking and brokerage firms and insurance companies. I mean, we're talking trillions of dollars. What do they do with it? Well, the Fed said, look, get in the market and run the thing up. We have to have some stability in here. We have to convince the public that we're capable of making the market become 10,000 again, and making those pension and profit-sharing plans go from minus 50% back to even again. And so that's what they've done. But the flip side of that is inflation starting to heat up big time. Look at the PPI since May. All you had to do was watch that, and you know that costs are going to go up. Now, either the producers of goods and services are going to eat the additional cost, or they're going to pass it on. Well, most of them are going to pass it on. And also, to answer your question about the falling of the dollar, how is it going to affect Americans? Everything they buy from a foreign country is going to get more expensive. So that T-shirt that came from China, and you bought it at retail for $1, might cost $1.35 or $1.50. And so that's one of the main ways that it's going to hit. It's going to be very inflationary. And that will go on for a time. How high will inflation go? A minimum of 14 to 15%, perhaps a lot more. We don't know what they've got in store for us yet.
Well, Bob, what's the real number? I mean, unemployment, every other private group says 20% or more. The government says 9.5%. What's the real number there?
Well, the only people I know that figure out what the increase in money and credit is John Williams and myself. And he's got 21.4%, and I got 21.3%. So I'll bow to his professional expertise because he's better at it than I am. And so, yes, that's what we've got. So anything that some politician or businessman says that the unemployment's more than 20%, that's true.
So unemployment's more like 20. Inflation's, where's inflation at then?
Real inflation is 6.11% using a formula before Bill Clinton went to office in the 1980s.
All right, stay there.
We're on the march.